I don't know how more people aren't saying, if you're not fit to run for re-election, how are you fit to run the country for the next 6 months? I think that is a very reasonable question. People that say, oh, just because he's dropping out doesn't mean anything else, I would argue against that. I think we deserve better than someone who's clearly suffering from mental decline, dementia, possibly Alzheimer's. It's just, that's not who anyone voted for, you know? It's supposed to be a democracy, not a government run by shadow figures. But I digress. It is also being speculated that Biden is not dropping out because he's old, but because the DNC is forcing him out because he's losing badly. I think that that's an obvious. I did not think that they were going to actually run him. I thought that they were going to announce Newsom by now. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't. I think there's speculation that they wanted to run Hillary or Michelle Obama. I think that Hillary wouldn't make any sense because she is very unlikable, and that's been proven time and time again. And then obviously there's the issues with who she happens to be married to. The Clintons don't really have a squeaky clean name anymore, so that doesn't seem like a viable option. I think Michelle Obama could probably sweep the floor, if I'm being honest. I think that she would be a very formidable opponent. But I honestly think it's going to be Newsom. I've been saying it. They've kind of been testing him out unofficially. He was born and bred for this job. He just looks exactly like that beautiful, greasy politician that you would just expect to want and love and thrive off of power. So I am going to predict it right now that we are going to see Newsom on the ticket, but we'll see. We shall see. I don't see how Kamala is going to be she is just so unlikable. She's so unlikable. She polls terribly, and I don't think anyone in the Democratic Party even wants her to be running. So if you want to win, that's not your ticket, folks.
I also want to close with one message to the Democrat Party. End this farce that Joe Biden is going to be your nominee. We know he's not even the president of the United States. He's a puppet for the managerial class. So have the guts to step up and be honest about who you're actually going to put up so we can have an honest debate. Biden should step aside, end his candidacy now, so we can see whether it's Newsom or Michelle Obama or whoever else.
All right,
just
Mr.
tell us the
Ramaswamy,
truth so we can have an honest debate.
Ambassador.
And that's Vivek, everybody. Just how prolific that man is. That was back. When did that get posted? Maybe we can add that into lower thirds. Oh, November. So that was a video from November. So I think it's kind of obvious. We all knew he wasn't going to run, but for some reason, the American people, us plebs, we did not deserve to know the truth. So Kamala Harris has gathered more than enough delegates to win the nomination, 1,976. Yikes. What is interesting is if we go back in time just a little bit, we weren't allowed to have a Democratic primary, which everyone wanted. The people wanted that. I know that there have been cases where we haven't had a primary for whatever reason. I think that given the state of the world and how divided everyone is, I think we deserved to see people face off and their acuity and what their policies were going to be, how they differentiate from each other. But they kind of strong-armed every other Democratic nominee and basically said you cannot compete with Joe Biden or Kamala Harris by doing so. They seem to have had Joe Biden drop out so last minute so that they can't really push anyone else in besides Kamala. But again, I really think that in some weird way, we're going to see Newsom weasel his way in and he's going to be on the ticket. I obviously could be wrong, but that is just something I've seen coming. All $240 million in donor funds will stay with Kamala Harris or else it goes back to the donors. That's interesting. Imagine that you donate. Well, here's the thing. If people were already donating and the money was expected to go to Joe Biden, something tells me it wasn't going for that person to win or run the country. It's for everyone else who's been doing it. Maybe Jill, but definitely not Joe. So I don't see that being any different with Kamala. She doesn't really seem to have a mind of her own, and I think that's exactly why she's in this position, because she's going to play ball with whoever is throwing said ball.